Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are well. And already been 2 days we had sessions for crypto, and today we are having our first session of web exploitation category. So my name is Sudhanshu Singh. I'm a member of Team BIOS, and today I will be exploring you guys through the category of web exploitation. So we'll be starting in few minutes. Can you just confirm if the audio is perfect? All right. So before continuing with the session, I would like to tell you about, like, you can join the Discord server, and there is a ticket system. If you face any difficulties in the traversing to the website or related to any challenge, you can just open a ticket. We'll help you out. So moving with the session of today. So I will give you an introduction, a brief introduction about my category, which is web exploitation. So today we are going to cover web architecture, client side, server side, dev tools, URL, HTTP request and response. So after this session, you will be having a basic idea of how these stuff works and what all are they about. So moving to the first topic, we have first as web architecture. So let me ask, if I type in the URL bar, like say http google.com, then you guys know what happens at the backend. If you type google.com, you will get a Google page, but what happens in the backhood? So when you as a client send the request to the server, which traverses to the internet, and after the server receives the request, then it sends back something which is known as HTTP response. So basically, in a HTTP request, you are asking something from the server, which is known as HTTP request, and you are getting something back as HTTP response. That's what the main web architecture is about. So how does it work? Basically, when you ask your browser for any URL, maybe like right now you are watching this stream on youtube.com. So if you type http youtube.com, then that request goes to the server, and server contains the overall logic of how to respond back to the request which is received, and then it sends back you the response through which you are seeing this YouTube live. Moving ahead, yeah, this is the pretty simple web application architecture. I hope you all are getting this. It's fine. I will explain you. So yeah, this is the better image of how web application architecture is. So if I take the analogy of the stream you are watching right now. So right now, currently you are the users. Front end is basically the YouTube web page in which you are watching this video. So front end collects data from users and sends it to the server as a request. Then server contains that logic of how to respond back to the website. So if you request anything from the server, that server goes to the file system and database, then synchronizes with it and accordingly send back you the response, which is displayed in your browser and which you can see it easily. So basically the users and front end is the consist which is controlled by you, while backend system consists of the web server, file system and database. So moving next, what actually is client side and server side? So client side is basically something in which you are there to act. So whatever you are right now seeing on your browser is client side, or the YouTube video which you are watching right now is client side. Client side basically uses text, images, UI, or whatever you interact with is all client side. It mainly includes the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. As you guys can see, this yellow logo which is written JS, this is JavaScript, and I want you guys to tell what is this orange logo of. If you know, do comment. I'll be telling. Guys, if you know, do put it in the chat. All right. So I will explain you as a web page is basically made of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So what actually uh, does each of them do? So imagine HTML. I will take you the analogy. So HTML, take HTML as the skeleton of your body. So it gives the structure to a web page of how elements are scaled at every step of the web page. Next, you have the CSS, which is like the skin or the beauty, the hairs you have on your body. CSS gives the beauty to the web page. Next is JS, that is JavaScript is the brain of the web page, which controls the overall functioning of the web page, which is like what will happen when you click a mouse button or what will happen when you hover to an element. So that's what JS do in a web page. So these all three are interrelated and combinedly they make a web page usable for the users. That is the front end. Uh, so moving next, we have server side. So server side is like what you can never see. Client side, you can access client side through your browsers, what you are seeing on the browser. Server side, it is like it consists the logic of what will happen when you send a request or how to respond back to a request which is going to come from your end. So it refers to everything that happens on the server instead on the client. Uh, Server side manages the databases, files, server resources, and many more. It processes the client's request and sends back the response. And accordingly, it is responsible for the scalability and uptime of the request which is coming. Some of the servers are Apache, Nginx, which are widely used. Moving next, we have some server-side languages or frameworks, which are PHP, Ruby, Flask, Node, which are widely used. So coming on to the database. So database is something like a folder where you store your data and the server can access it. So basically databases is structured information or data which is typically stored in the computer system. Uh, Database is managed basically by a database management system, and to get data from the databases use some languages uh, which are MySQL, SQLite, Postgres. These are some example of SQL databases, and many databases use structured query language for writing and querying data. So this was the brief about the databases, and we will be studying more about it in tomorrow's session, which will be about SQL and databases. So moving next, this is a brief of how a database looks like. This is a table in the database. So this table is named as student and it has roll number, name, specialization and DOB as columns. And here is some data which is stored. And using structured query language, you can fetch this data and use it in your web page or website wherever you want. All right. So now we come to the topic dev tools. So dev tools are basically like built-in tools for every browser like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, whatever you use that help developers inspect, debug, test, and analyze the websites. So basically what will happen if I press F12 in my browser. So let's say I go to my browser and I pressed F12. So this stuff popped out from the below, which has various tabs like elements, console, source, network, performance, memory, and application, etc. So why do we need them, or what is the functionality of each of them? So I will tell you about each of them. So first comes the elements. So let's say if I go to example.com So in this element, you have the structure of a web page, and you can check how the elements are styled, and you can modify the HTML and CSS to test the live changes, but it won't be reflected on the server side code. It is just visible for you on the screen. So if I go through the code, let's say there is a head element. If I open it, then there is example domain, then meta tag, and there is a style which is CSS. Now we have another style tag, we have a body inside the div element, then we have example domain. So let's say if I want to change this, and let's say I want to do instead of example domain, if I want to do perfect domain. So as you can see on the web page, it is reflected as perfect domain. But what will happen if I refresh the page? If I refresh the page, it again went back to example domain. So this is like, you can see the change on your side only. You can't change the server side code like this. So main use of elements is to see the code styles on the right end. Just change it if you want. Next comes the console. Console is where you can run and debug JavaScript. So if you want to run any JavaScript, or you want to use debugger, or maybe if you are getting any error on your website, you can check every of the errors here in the console. Moving to sources tab, we have basically, you can see the source file here. It is basically used as debugger. When you ever get the error here on the console, you can just hover to it and it will redirect to the source, and it will point to the line which is creating that error. So you can easily debug that. This is the main use of source. Moving next, we have network tab. So network tab is the main tab which is used to create a communication between you and the server. So this tabs holds the record of all the requests and responses which you are sending to the server, and whatever server is sending you back. So let's say I requested example.com. So here you can see example.com and state as a 304. This we will talk about what is 304 and what was the type it is the document, and what are the stuff like logo.png, stars, dom. So this is what where the all your requests are being stored. So let's say if I go to example.com, here I can see every stuff like response headers, request headers, and what everything to which we requested and whatever server responded with. We'll go into deep with this. Before that, if you guys have any doubts, you can just ask in the chat. Also, you can tell about the session, how is it going? Is everything clear to you? All right. So if you guys have any doubts, just put it in the comment section or the live chat. Moving next, we have the application tab. So these are some of the important tabs which we use. So application tab is basically responsible for storing data on the client side. So here's like local storage, which you can see if you have any website which stores data locally, then you can see it here. Here's the session storage, and here's the cookies tab, which is like if you have any cookie, then it will be stored here in the cookie. But for this domain like example.com, I don't have any cookie, so it's empty. I can create one cookie like maybe hi and value as InCTF So some of you might be wondering what is actually cookie, or what is the use of cookie. So what will happen if I remove it from here? Nothing will happen if I remove this hi from here, as it is not being used as a cookie. But cookies generally store the user information on the website. So let's say if you go to any website once you logs in, then you get some session cookie, which is like if you go to that website again, let's say you go to one bank, you go to transaction page, and then you go to check balance. So how will the server know, okay, you are the correct person who came to transaction and now you are coming to check balance? So for that case, the cookie stored, which stores your session and tells the browser, okay, this is the right person who came for the transaction and now he is going for checking his balance. So that's what the main use of cookies. It stores data and the user's sessions information in the browser. So that was all about the dev tools which we use and various tabs. If you guys have any doubts, do put it in the live chat. All right. So I think this session is getting a bit bored. So let's move with one interesting challenge. So there is a QR code on your screen. You guys can scan with your phone if you have, or there is a website in the slide. You can just type it and try to get the 3 flags which are there in the website. See, this challenge is totally based on what we have discussed till now, and it's simple. I will also solve it, but I would like first you guys to give it a try. And if you get the flag, then do put it in the live chat. So if you have any queries regarding that, then put it in the chat. All right. So until people are trying the challenge, we can just quickly surf the InCTF website. So if you type InCTF on the browser, then if you click on the first website, it shows InCTF Junior. You can just go to here, click on it. From here, you can register, and you can also, after registering, you can join Discord, Telegram, and if you have any queries, there's a ticket system in the Discord. You can ask your queries. Feel free to ask any doubts, whatever it is about. Now, also we have put up the practice challenges which are there, through which you can practice some of the challenges for the InCTF. And we have BIOS wiki, through which you can go through the content of what all stuff is there. You can practice out the challenges. Apart from these, you can try some PicoCTF challenges, and you can serve the website. And if you have any queries, you can just put it on the Discord ticket system. Also, do share it with your friends, and all set. So yeah, we got one flag. Yeah, that's very nice. So now we will be solving it. I think we should wait for some more people to get the flag. Uh, Praboda, practice challenges are not working. Can you tell about the challenge which is not working? Or maybe you can open the Discord ticket. Uh, Binary Potan, can you tell which challenge was not working specifically so that we can look into it, sort it out as soon as possible for you guys? I think we can wait 1 minute for the people to solve the challenge if they get all the three flags. After that, I will show you. All right, my bad. I think due to some technical issues, my audio was not audible. So now, right now, I will be solving this challenge and show you how we can solve it once again from the starting. So this was the challenge which was given. So I'll go to all the tabs. So it says, did you take my flag? Return it right now. I won't leave until, okay, it's fine, completely fine. So what's the basic practice when you get any challenge, basic type of challenges? You go through the source code, whatever we have learned about dev tools right now. So how you can do it, either you can right click on the mouse and then go to this inspect tab, which is the last option, or apart from it, if I press F12 of my keyboard, then that inspect DevTools will be popped up. So now let's come to the inspect tab, which is the very first tab. So it shows here the overall structure of a web page. So let's say if I hover onto anything, so it will show me what it is. So let's say I want this thing, did you take my container? Maybe you can choose this pointer, and if I choose this pointer and go to this, did you take my flag, it will show, okay, which part of the code is handling it. So see, it returned h2. Inside h2 I'm having that line. Similarly, this is the image. If I hover onto it, then I will get that image. So this element tab basically contains all the page source. So if I open this head element, then I can see the title as referee challenge. So you can see that referee challenge as the title of the tab, the Chrome, like with whatever browser you are using. You can see at the top of the tab, you can see referee challenge. So that's what the title is. Then next there is style sheet, which is giving basically a style to this web page. Then we have body, in which there's an image and it is having all text width, and there is some text, and below it, if you see, there is a part of flag, which is flag part 1. So I will copy it and paste it in the next browser tab. So yeah, set. So we got one flag from the page source. You can either do this, or you can right click on the mouse and click on view page source, which is second last option. And if you see here, you can see there's a commented part in HTML which says flag part 1 as InCTF. So we can easily get it from here. All right, so we got part 1 of the flag. GG's to whoever got. Moving next, we have a console. So if I reload the page, so you can see I got one error here which says get Zinsky Python anywhere.com favicon icon not found. 404 not found. So basically fav icon is basically a logo. Like if I type google.com here, so you see one where this page is loading, you see one Google logo here, right? So in any of these tabs, it is not present. So that's why it is giving error as fav icon is not found. So this was put there intentionally so as to make you guys aware of how you can see the errors here. So if you click on it, you will be directed to the network tab, and you can get more info about it. Or if there is any error in the code, then it will be directed to the source page. All right, so if we move towards the next tab, we see some style.css. Okay, so at the very top, we can see the flag part. That was basically a challenge, but if we traverse through everything, so this is basically the style sheet which is providing the style to the web page. There's a body, there's a container class in which it is giving particular styles. So we can copy our part, this and paste it here. All right, so if I open, there is a static folder also. If I open that, then there is an image. So this image is same displayed there in the web page. All right, so next we have style, which we already saw, and then there is an index which was also there, which is the main index page. All right, so moving next, you can ask your doubts if you have any in the live chat. All right, so moving towards the last part, if I go to application, then here you can see different tabs. Local storage, okay, nothing is there. Session storage, nothing is there. Then you see cookies tab. So if I go to cookies tab, then I see my flag part 3. All right, so I got finally the part 3 of my flag, and this was the full flag. So I hope everything is clear till now, and if you guys have any doubts, to put it in the chat. This was the flag. Give it a try yourself if you are not seeing the live session. All set. So I think everything is clear till now. So moving next, we have so we have we'll now talk about uniform resource locator, or simply known as URL. So what actually is URL? So URL is basically the address to which you are trying to send the address, or something from where you are trying to get the data. Can be anything. Let's say if you type google.com, then it is a URL. So there are some structures of the URL which we are going to discuss. So uh, first of all, every URL starts with HTTP. Even though if we type google.com, the browser will automatically add one HTTPS or HTTP at the starting, which is known as protocol. What is protocol? If I tell you that protocol is simply a set of instructions which needs to be followed by a request when going to a server. It is a proper set of instructions which should be followed in order to get a proper response and in order to send your request to the server. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for the server to respond to other requests. Let's say if I send a request to a server in some other way and you send a request with some other way, so that server will be confused at how to respond to the different request. That's why there is a proper protocol which needs to be followed in order to get a proper response. Now, after HTTP, HTTP, HTTPS are some of the protocols. Most widely, like nowadays, we use HTTPS, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And now, after this, there is www.example.com. So, what is this example.com? So, this is basically the host from which you are trying to get the information, or you are sending your request to this host, which is example.com. So, this is the domain of your request. Next comes colon 80. Then what is this colon 80? You might be wondering. So this 80 refers to the port number. So there are various ports for a system, for a service which is being provided. So HTTP by default works on port 80, while HTTPS works on 443. After that 80 there is slash, then there is a part to file. So if you see any URL and after, let's say, like, port is not always visible, but by default there is a port number. So let's say if it is example.com slash something, then that slash something is the part to the file which you are trying to access. And there is a if you see any question mark in your URL, then they are the HTTP parameters through which you are trying to send the data to the server with the help of your request in the URL. And in some URLs you might see something like hashtag, and after hashtag there is something somewhere in the doc that is known as anchor. What is anchor? So basically, if you want to uh, open any web page or maybe any document, and let's say there is a scroll bar and you want to go at a specific part of a web page, so you can have anchor tag, which basically does, like, when you open any link, it will automatically go to that part of the document rather than starting from the start. So you might have faced like this, like when you open any link, you are automatically uh, go through the like that specific part of the document. So that what anchor tag basically does. So I think the structure of URL is clear to you. If you have any doubts, you can just put it in the comment section or either put it in the live chat if you are watching it live. So moving next, we have HTTP request and response. So we have covered the brief of like what HTTP request and response is. Now we will see how does it look like. We have gone through how does it work, what is the use of it. Now we'll see how does it look like. So here on your screen you can see something as get/post/javascript, then a protocol which is being used. This is basically a HTTP request which you are sending to the server. Now this server, as this server contains the whole logic of how to respond to this request, it will calculate of what to respond with. Then after calculating, it will send you the response, which will look something like this. I know there are some highlighted words which I'll be discussing in few minutes and briefing you about it. So this is what how a HTTP response looks like. And after getting that response, your browser loads it for you. That's what happens when you type google.com. So when you type google.com on your browser, your request looks like get slash HTTP or whatever protocol and version you are using, and host will be google.com. And then it will be responding back with HTTP 200 OK. These are known as status codes 200, which we'll be discussing soon. So that's how things works under the hood. Okay, so this was the request and response structure. Now we have request methods. What is request methods? So request methods, as you have seen in the previous slides, there are something used as get, and here this was the response. So what is this get? You might be wondering. So get is basically a request method through which you try to uh, get something from the server. There are other methods that are get, post, head, delete, options, put, and each of them has their specific functionality. So get method is used to retrieve data from the web server. Next we have post, in which you try to post sensitive data, you try to send your sensitive data to the web server. Apart from that, we have head, which is basically same as get but returns only the headers. Then we have delete, which removes data from the server. Options is basically used to show the allowed HTTP methods for a resource, while put updates or replaces the existing data. There are other methods too, which are patch, which is basically partially updates the existing data. But most commonly we use get and post. So we'll be discussing about it. All right. So what is the difference between get and post request method? So get, as the name suggests, it is used to request data from a specified resource. So it is the structure of get requests looks something like this. Get to the path to which you want to send the request. Then there is a host to which domain you want to send. And except language and connection are some additional headers. But if you want to send a get request, only first, that is get and host are the two mandatory headers. While talking about the post, it is used to send data to a server to create or update a resource. So beside the post, you can see how a post request structure looks like. So first of all, we have a post, then to which endpoint you are sending your HTTP with version, and host, content type, which is in this case application JSON. JSON is JavaScript object notation. It is just a like way of representing data. And then we have content length as 60. And then we have the data, whatever data we are sending. Let's say right now here it is data and InCTF. It can be either username, then your username, or password, whatever it can be. The post request structure looks like this. And these are the mandatory headers which should be present in your post request to get succeeded. I think request methods is clear to you guys. If you have any queries, do put it in the live chat. All right, so moving ahead. So we saw how a request structure looks like. Now, how a response structure looks like. Let's say you send something to a server. How does your response will look like? So this is how your response looks like. So you have HTTP 1.1 200 okay. So this basically shows okay, your request succeeded. This we'll also be covering in few minutes. Next, all the red marked headers are the response headers from the servers. The headers in blue, they are the representation headers, while all the headers in green, they are general headers which are always included from the response received from the server, which basically tells your browser and the server to communicate and uh, make the communication easier so that the web page you load doesn't have any issue. So there's a content type header which is text HTML, which tells the browser, okay, this is the response which I am sending contains HTML or text. All right, so moving next, we have response codes. So in the response structure, you saw there something was 200 okay. In the previous slide also you saw something like 200 okay. So what is this 200 okay? 200 we saw it was a uh, success codes. So these are known as response codes. So there is a range from 100, starts from 100 and it goes till 500. So for every specific range, they are divided into 100. So first hundreds like 100, 100, they are informational codes, which is like example you may have seen. Continue. Next comes the success code, which starts from 200 and goes till 299, which tells you like your request has been successfully gone to the server. So we have got 200 okay in our request, which shows that our request have gone through the have reached the server basically. Next we have 3 not x, which is 300 to 399, which represent the redirection codes. Some of you guys might have encountered like 302 or 301, which is moved permanently. So uh, if I type http google.com in my browser, then you will see like that request will be redirected, because nowadays we commonly use https, which is the most or like comparatively safer version than http. So nowadays we use https, but what will happen if I type http google.com? So that will be redirected to https and you will get a response code as 301, which is moved permanently. Next, we have 4 not category, which is starts from 400 to 499, which shows all the client side errors, which is like I think most of you might have encountered sometime or the other error 404, which is page not found. So all these are known as client errors. Next, we have server side errors, which starts from 400 to 599, which basically tells us that there is some issues with the server, so that it is not responding and not able to give you the proper response. So what is the main function of all these codes? So this help you to tell, okay, what where am I going wrong, or what is the, if it is getting in a right way, then what is the status of my request. So these codes help you to find out that in order to make the communication between server and browser easy and feasible. I think response codes are is also over, and if you guys have any doubt, then just put it in the chat. All right, thank you. So we have come to an end of today's session. I hope you all guys enjoyed it, and I hope I was able to deliver what all stuff I took it for you today. If you guys have any doubts, you can just put it in the live chat, or either you can ask in the Discord ticket system or in the comment section. We'll try to respond you. Also, do so from the for the InCTF website. Share it with your friends, form a team, and play it. And also an important announcement, like quals of InCTF will be there on 13th of December, and also on-site finals will be around first or second week of Jan. So plan accordingly, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. And if you have any issues, do put it in the Discord ticket system. Also, an important announcement, there will be no session on tomorrow. So next session will be conducted on Monday. Thank you. Happy CTFA.